Joining us is Somdev Devvarman ahead of the US Open that starts on the 28th of August. Somdev, firstly, thank you so much for speaking to us here on the Times Network.
Thank you, Karishma. Thanks for having me. Exciting times with the Open right around the corner.
Well, absolutely. And, starting with how are you looking at the rivalries that we're going to see? Of course, defending champions, Carlos Alcaraz, Iga already there. But, any players that you are certainly looking forward to or any matches that you have in your mind?
Well, the first thing I feel like with this major is that, is Novak going to get to 24? That's the real big question because he was so close at Wimbledon, went down to Alcaraz. But yes, I think you did say it right. It's about the rivalries that are forming. Novak and Alcaraz have played only 4 times. They've all been classics. Alcaraz is the defending champion, and it's hard to believe that he's 20 years old, but he's actually coming in this year playing better tennis than he was playing last year. The only difference last year was that Novak Djokovic was not in the draw. So it makes for a very interesting storyline. So in the women's side as well, I think the game is really at a great place right now because the rivalries that are now formed are between Swiatek, obviously, who's the favorite, who's the #1 seed, the defending champion. But there's Rybakina, who's won a slam, who's kind of beaten Swiatek at big events. They're on the same side of the draw. There's Sabalenka, who's made a breakthrough and she's gone out and won the Aussie. And there's a lot of other players as well. There's a lot of there's Jabeur, who everyone is rooting for, who we want to see Jabeur win. So there's just great rivalries always make for great viewership. And it's nice to see that tennis now is starting to develop new rivalries both in the men and the women's side.
And Somdev, you spoke in detail about Carlos and Djokovic, but I want to take that question forward. Carlos, of course, somewhere represents the newer generation of tennis, men's tennis, and Djokovic, of course, is the part of the quartet of Federer, Nadal, Murray, and Djokovic. But, Djokovic, every time we've heard him talk about Carlos, he seems very, very impressed by the man himself. So do you think this is going to be the new era before Djokovic? Of course, also, we have to see how much longer he can continue. But like he says, 36 is the new 26.
36 is the new 26. You can convince yourself as much as you want. He's the best 36-year-old we've ever seen on a tennis court in terms of how agile and how fit he is. But I mean, this is the first time that I can say clearly that I thought I wouldn't say he lost a step. He certainly lost a little bit. At the Wimbledon final, he didn't play his best tennis. At Cincinnati, he looked like he was fatigued. Is he still playing great tennis? Yes. Can he still beat pretty much any player out there? Yes. He does have a very good shot. But for the first time, I'm seeing him play his age. And the scary thing about his opposition or the rival is that Alcaraz is 20 and he's getting stronger and stronger and stronger. So that's kind of the difference between the two. But I mean, incredible tennis, really. I think what makes Alcaraz so great is the fact that he learns so quickly. Just imagine the time that he learned from his disappointing upset when he lost to Novak at Roland Garros, and how quickly he turned that around in 2 weeks and went and won Wimbledon, threw all the demons out of his head, and in that 5th set stayed so composed and focused to find a way to win his very first Wimbledon title. Novak, on the other hand, has made a career doing the same thing. So chips were back against the wall. Found a way to beat Rafa on clay, found a way to beat Roger on grass, on hard courts. He dominated Australia for such a long time. So, it makes sense that Novak Djokovic appreciates what Carlos Alcaraz is doing because in many ways it takes a genius to understand the genius of Alcaraz himself.
And Somdev, I want to understand from you, what have you thought of Indian tennis progression in terms of players coming up at the global stage? Do you feel it is happening at a good pace, or do you somewhere feel that there is some sort of stagnation when it comes to Indian tennis rising at the global stage?
Well, not somewhere. It's pretty clear. We're not doing good enough, and we're not good enough. What needs to change? A lot. We had 3 players in the qualifying. Great effort by the players, But we're still talking about development. We're still talking about development of coaches. We're still looking at the system, and we're still wondering why the federation isn't better. And you have to be honest. Every other country, look at the Asian Games is coming up. I remember time when I played the Asian Games a little over a decade ago. But India was one of the strongest Asian countries at that time. Whenever we played a Davis Cup tie against another Asian country, we almost always got through. Now, look at Japan. Japan has skyrocketed past us, men and women. China, we never used to lose to China in the men's, and now there's much better Chinese players than us, much better Korean players than us. Kazakh, that's a whole different story. And so the question is why? Why is this happening? And the answer is simple. If all the other countries are doing a much better job with their development programs, with their coaching programs, with their basic grassroots infrastructure, with accessibility to the sport, the proof lies in the pudding. They're going to have more players. They're going to have, better players. And we're still going to be sitting over here complaining that our system is not good enough. But at some point, somebody has to be accountable and change it. That's not happened yet.
Well, Somdev, hopefully we can look forward to some point blank commentary from you as well during the US Open and Sony Sports.
Hopefully. That's usually my style. So thank you, Karishma. Thank you for having me. And let's hope for the best for tennis, Indian tennis. But regardless, I'm sure everyone's going to have a feast watching the US Open.
Well, absolutely look forward to that, Somdev. Thank you so much for speaking to us here on the Times Network.
Thank you very much, Karishma. See you soon.
See you soon.